Hello and welcome, my friends. We are doing something a little different today. We are going to be talking about flying hunters and specifically flying Ronin here, which most of you, if you are one of the lucky ones, I guess, you might have just recently unlocked him, or might be finishing him up. Maybe unlocked him in the past couple weeks. Congrats first off, and welcome to what I think is a really great hunter. However, it is one that is a little bit different than some of the other hunters. Now, real fast before we hop into flying him, and kind of just some of the things that I think about when I try to fly Ronin, and the ways that I try to improve upon my attacks. It kind of benefits us to start off by talking a little bit about hunters overall. Now, most hunters fall on this spectrum, and at the one end of the spectrum is the incredibly crafty hunter, and at the other end of the spectrum is what I refer to as the bulldog hunter. So the crafty or cunning hunter, you would think of as Sakura from this season, is very crafty, avoiding damage, trying to avoid any taking any damage to herself. Paythox definitely falls under this category as well. A lot of hunters that have the blink mechanic to avoid taking damage by dodging or cloaking or blinking, all those sorts of things are hunters that I would put into this crafty sort of category, or closer to that on the spectrum. And then you have Ronin. And I think Ronin is one, and Axie is another that I think falls on this bulldog type hunter category, or at least much closer to that end of the spectrum. And the reason why I kind of categorize them this way in my mind is because Ronin and Axie specifically are going to take damage. There's pretty much no way to avoid the damage with them. Things are going to hit them. The way you mitigate that is by using, in Axie's case, using her shield, and with Ronin specifically using his adaptive immunity. So making sure that we know which flax we can switch our immunity to is a huge key, I think, when flying Ronin. And it really comes into play as you're looking at a base. What am I gonna do? When am I going to switch up my immunities? I think it really ends up being a big part of the success and or failure of flying against a specific type of base. So real fast before we hop into it, my Ronin, his attack power is at around 1.52 billion. So we're gonna look for things around that 1 billion range or so, and around there, and kind of figure out what we can do as we're flying. So let's go up here. These are a little low so far. This is an interesting base. This is definitely going to be, I would say, probably on the tougher range for Ronin. For my Ronin, those 64s are hefty, but let's go ahead and try. This person is online, so we will see how this goes. All right. First thing I'm going to try to do as we look at this base is I'm going to start off. As we come through the mages, I'm going to start off trying to get up way of the blade, get up execute rather, from my way of the blade spell. And if I happen to take any mage shots, I will want to make sure to try and get back that rage as quickly as possible by leaving up the perch for as long as possible. And lastly, as we come around to the kill island, I want to have the dark flak immunity up, and as soon as the dark flak hits us, I want to try and switch over to the fire flak immunity to try and avoid any damage from that as well. And then as we come on the back of that long island, maybe using Entrap to keep the second Dark Flak from hitting us. So let's go in, let's see how we do. You'll notice that I often fly with Havoc equipped. Havoc is a great way to boost the execution damage from execute, and can kind of get Ronin doing a lot more damage to specific type of towers. All right, let's get into this. Do we have a defender? It doesn't look like it. Let's go ahead and use Slice on that first mage just to kind of rotate through, kill these monuments. And you can actually just throw away Slice and Thrust if you need to. In this case, we don't, but it is an option. All right, and this perch isn't doing a ton of damage to us, so that's good. If not, I would maybe look at using Entrap. All right, so you see me switch to the Dark immunity, and we didn't actually kill the Dark Flak. So the fact that it didn't kill the Dark Flak actually put us in a little bit of a bind there. Let's do that. So it put us in a little bit of a bind because we ended up flipping, because we ended up flipping the immunity, expecting to kill it. We didn't. You saw me throw away Thrust there. We didn't, but so we were not taking damage from the Fire Flak, but we were still taking damage from the Dark Flak. A little bit rough, but we got through it. Ronin is great. Getting up execute for those farms is awesome. All right, and I mean, honestly, most of the time you'll see me not flipping through the immunity that much, but I will in a case where specifically I'm getting if I get rage drained or something like that. So one thing we could have done differently there is we could have thrown up Havoc, guaranteed the fact that we would destroy the Dark Flak. We didn't. That would have probably been a more smooth way to go about it, and a bigger guarantee that we get through it. If we had defenders, thank you. If we had defenders, obviously they probably would have repaired, and we would have been in a little bit more trouble. But let's hop into another one. Nonetheless, we got through it. That's always the name of the game, is getting through the bases that we attack. First and foremost. So here's another really pretty good one. Not a true rage drain here on Island 6, but Island 5 is the main kill island. We're gonna try and do the same thing, and then maybe we'll try and fly another setup here as well. This time, because that Dark Flak is a little bit lower and this base defense is a little bit lower, I'm assuming their gear isn't quite as good. So, and let's just go ahead and throw Slice, throw Thrust over there, because, I want to make sure it's up. Ultimately, because the defense is a little bit lower, because the tower level is a little bit lower, I think that we will be fine without Havoc, even though the last time kind of showed that we might have needed it. So Entrap is great to just mitigate any possible incoming damage as you're waiting for things to kind of get set up. All right, another thing is, as we're coming up on, the back islands, it's a great place to use that Entrap as well. Ooh, that Ice Flak didn't die from just the Slice. So you'll see a lot of what I'm doing with Ronin is getting those immunities up, using those immunities to my advantage to avoid taking damage, and then use that tower to slow me down. Ronin needs a lot of time to rebuild up that rage. Specifically, the way that I have him ruined is heavily attack, because I want him to hit as hard as possible when we come around on different islands, on those big kill islands. But because of that, I essentially have given up rage. And so the only way he can get rage is through his adaptive resist. Now, we could be better about spamming that. Oftentimes there's not a ton of need. There is a little bit of cooldown, so you kind of do have to be careful spamming it too much and possibly coming up on an island that you were unprepared for with the right resist. So instead, I'll often leave up that a tower that I know that I have the immunity up for, to build back up that rage, get my hunter ammo back, and kind of just reset for the next thing. The duration of entrap, I think it's something like 12 seconds or something like that. It's a long disabling spell, and so you can use that as well to you saw me there, use the immunity to not take any damage but slow down and start shooting at towers. You entrap them before they can start hitting you and start taking down those towers while you're just continuing to get hit by the fire flak, or a flak that you have immunity to. And we have with Ronin, we have immunity to zap, dark flak, and fire flak. We can't do anything about ice, and we can't do anything about earth, and so both of those are really important to either entrap or kill as quickly as possible. All right, this is a short base. The biggest thing we need to worry about, no blue on that kill island, which means that we can kind of heal up, and that's one thing we haven't talked about. So again, having the having that heal spell, this is something that I would say is a key to this bulldog type hunter, is that they need a way to heal back up, to possibly get back some health from the damage that they may take. And Ronin is no different. He has this blue heal spell. So there are lots of cases where making sure to get down the blue will benefit you by being able to, so that you can heal back up if you need to. And unfortunately, there's just not a lot we can do to stop a mage shot like that from happening. We're gonna try and cycle through, get back a little bit of rage, kill that off. All right, we're back at full. There we go, and it didn't kill the dark flak. So the boost and stuff like that, I guess we should have thrown on Havoc, because well, he's healing back up too. All right, guy, feel free to use resources like that. I typically you only use hammers in a kind of war atlas setting, but all right, that's fine. That's fine. Nonetheless, basically, if you don't kill everything in that first shot, you're gonna be in kind of a pretty rough situation, just because now things that you were expecting to completely die are not, and so you really have to have I would say have a good plan, and have a good idea of what you can and what you can't kill. Let's go. Here we're getting into these like just the one flak is a little this should be easy enough for us to handle. And one thing you'll notice is that by him dropping shields, even before he dropped the repairs, by him dropping shields, that affected what I actually, like, the amount of damage that I was actually doing. So I should have instead dropped or used Havoc to deal that extra damage. All things you got to think about. Knowing what how hard execute will hit, is a pretty important thing, I think, with Ronin. All right, so this is that setup that we want to use dark flak to start off with as we come around that main kill island, then switch to fire, possibly just kind of tank some of that damage. And we actually, because of this dark flak here, we want to get dark flak back up pretty quickly. Let's see if we remember all of that. All right, here we go. We have the ice flak to start off with. That long is going to be something that we need to consider. Hopefully try and mitigate some of the damage that we're going to take by using entrap, by using things like that. Let's dump that, have execute up. If we really need to, we could probably get execute up once, even if we used it on the long. We shall see. Let's start off by just doing a whole bunch of taps. Let's cast entrap. Entrap kind of bugged out there. Let's do that on the back. Okay, we took a red mage to the face. I want to heal up. And we're just going to use this storm tower to get back our rage, slow down our flying. Alright, dark flak. Let's cast havoc just to make sure we get that off. I was just a little slow on the immunity shift, but we use entrap to kind of help that problem. Help that problem go away. And we can just tap down the dark flak. Let's shift, so we're back to zap. Now back to dark flak immunity and execute again. So the fire turret, because it's because it fires slowly is essentially what it is. It's gonna finish its firing, which is why you saw me entrap it and it's still fired. That's just the way that fire turrets work. Frankly, any projectile tower works that way. If you disable them while they're in their firing process, they're gonna finish the firing. The fire flak the fire turret rather just fires so slowly that it's the most obvious delay that you see. But knowing that was incoming and just healing back up is something that you can do again to mitigate that damage that comes in. All right, let's do one more flight. See if we can find something, I don't know, maybe a little bit different. Let's see what we got here. Okay, this is kind of an interesting base actually, just because we have the 2 damage dealers up front, and we have a zap in the back, and then this ice and the earth over on the essentially the second kill, which we can do basically nothing about. So we need to really use entrap there to kind of plan around that. All right, let's go into this. We're gonna want to start off with dark flak immunity, and then switch really quickly. Let's see if we can do this. Switch really quickly to get back to the electro flak immunity. Let's see how we do this. If we can do this well. Throw away thrust. Get dark flak up. Precast. Execute. Cast it on the turn. Let's entrap while we're taking that damage. And I don't know if you noticed, so I did have full hunter ammo there, but there are a lot of times where I will cast. Ooh. Oh, we did not switch to zap. No wonder. That was interesting. All right, let's get that. Oh, wow, that was fast. All right, that second island just did not really have anything to keep up with us. All right, so you saw me take that hit from the dark flak. I apparently missed switching the immunity one more time. That's what got us in trouble. But I just used the heal to get back that health. A lot of the way that I think about Ronin is planning out what I'm going to do with that immunity. The heal is there for emergency situations, which is why you do want to focus down the blues if you don't have them entrapped. But really, my main goal is to come around, execute, and then either entrap or just focus down the towers that I can, making sure that I get back any rage by using that immunity. And If I get into a situation where I need to either heal back up or do some extra damage, using thrust and slice can kind of rotate through and help you kill some of those towers, not using up full ammo. It really is about balancing the spells, balancing to me, execute and entrap. Figuring out how long do I have now? How can I wait? How can I get around and kill the other towers that are not entrapped? Those are lots of the things that I think about while I'm flying this dragon. I really, really love Ronin. He does take practice. Every hunter is going to take some practice, and there are going to be certain situations where I would say he probably isn't the most ideal choice. But he can do a lot of unique things that I feel some other hunters maybe can't do as well. Just the big burst damage that he can do alone is kind of very unique to him as far as hunters go. So I really do hope that you maybe learned some things. If you have questions about how I think about flying Ronin, or how I specifically think about flying other types of hunters or a specific base setup, feel free to hit me up. I would love to talk through anything with you. I do have, well, first off, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitch. This is a rare YouTube video for me. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitch. Feel free to come hang out. We talk a lot about hunters. We talk a lot about the changes to the game, and just whatever's going on at that time, whether it's just doing simple things or questions that people have. Please do come tune in 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on Wednesdays we do a giveaway, so make sure to tune in then. And if you would love help learning how to fly hunters, learning how to fly Ronin specifically, please feel free to hop in the Discord. The link will be in the description below. Please like, subscribe. I appreciate you all. Have a good one. Peace.